and welcome to TL Faith Mugen channel. Thank you for stopping by. If you're new, please consider subscribing. So today's tutorial, we are going to look at the tables of reciprocal. But before we embark on that, I want us to first of all understand what we mean by reciprocal. So the word reciprocal comes from the word reciprocate, and this means returning a deed. So for example, if Peter and John are friends, Peter might decide to buy bananas for John, and John will return the deed, will reciprocate what Peter did yesterday by buying the same bananas tomorrow. So with that simple definition, I want us we understand now mathematically what we mean by the word reciprocal. So we know from general mathematics that the product, if we multiply two numbers and the result is 1, then we say that those numbers are reciprocal of each other. In short, what we are saying, if the product of two numbers is equal to 1, then we say those numbers are reciprocal of each other. For example, equal to 1, therefore the numbers are said to be reciprocal of each other. For instance, if we have a quarter times 4, we get 1, and 1 over 8 times 8 is equals 1, and probably the last one, 1 over 12 times 12 is equals to 1. So this means that 4, 8, and 12 are reciprocals of a quarter, a eighth, and a 12th respectively. This is because the product of these two numbers equals 1, and that is why we are saying that if the product of two numbers equals to 1, then it means that those two numbers are reciprocal of each other. Now, if we consider numbers 1, 2, 3, probably 4, and 5, and so on, their reciprocal will be 1 over 1, and the reciprocal of 2 will be 1 over 2, the reciprocal of 3 will be 1 over 3, reciprocal of 4 will be 1 over 4, reciprocal of 5 will be 1 over 5, and so on. Okay? Now, if I write these fractions in decimal form so that we can see the reciprocal in decimal form, then it means that numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and so on, their reciprocals in decimal form will be 1 over 1 is just 1, 1 over 2 is half, that is 0.50. That of 3 will be 0.333 carry. The other one will be 0.25. And finally, we shall have 0.20, progressing like that. So if you keenly look at the reciprocals of these numbers, you will realize that the smaller the number, the larger its reciprocal. So this means that the reciprocal of 1 will be greater than the reciprocal of 5, because 1 is smaller than 5. So this means that our reciprocals, the reciprocal of number increases as the number becomes smaller. Now, having noted that the smaller the number, the larger the reciprocal, and the larger the number, the smaller the reciprocal, then we can embark on the tables of reciprocal. Reciprocal tables, just like any other table in mathematical tables, only accommodate numbers between, we only accommodate numbers between 1 and 10. This means that if the number is less than 1 or the number is greater than 10, so for you to find the reciprocal of such numbers in the reciprocal tables, it means that we have to write those numbers in standard form. And in standard form, the number should be in this form: times 10 power n, where n is integer. And when we talk of an integer, we talk of either positive or negative numbers, and that a should be less or equal 10 and should be greater or equal 1. So by so doing, then it means we can be able to find the reciprocal of such numbers just after writing them in standard form, as we all normally do in the tables of logarithm, square, cube, and so on. Now, this means that if the reciprocal of 1 is 1 over 1 and is equals 1, and the reciprocal of 10 is 1 over 10, which is equal to 0.1, then it means that all the numbers between 1 and 10, their reciprocals should lie between 1 and 0.1. So generally what we can say that reciprocal of any number x is equals 1 over x. In short, 1 divided by x. Now I want us to first of all look at the example of finding the reciprocal of numbers using division method before we embark on reciprocal of numbers using reciprocal tables, so that we can compare the answers and see whether there is any difference between using the division method and using the tables of reciprocal. So we have the example here where we are trying to find the reciprocal of 14.76, and the first method we are going to use division method. So we know that reciprocal of any number can call it x, is equals 1 over x, and in this case our x is 14.76. so it means that the reciprocal of 14.76 is equals 1 over 14.76, and when you do the division, 1 divided by 14.76 using calculator or division method, we shall get 0.06775. Just as simple as that. If you have calculator, you just place 1 divided by 14.76, And now I want us we use the reciprocal tables to find the reciprocal of the same number and see whether we shall get the same answer or whether there will be slight difference. To use the reciprocal tables to evaluate the reciprocal of 14.76, remember we said that if the number is greater than 10 or the number is less than 1, then we have to convert or to write the number in standard form. So if we look at this example here, 14.76 is greater than 10, and therefore it is prudent enough to write the number in standard form. So the first step is to write the number in standard form. And this number will be, so 14.76, its reciprocal is 1 over 14.76, which should be written in standard form such that now we shall have 1 over 1.476 times 10 power 1. So what we are going to do in this case, we are going to find the reciprocal of 1.476 times the reciprocal of 10 power 1, right? So if we look at the table, if we look at the reciprocal tables in mathematical table, the second step that we are going to follow is that we shall locate row 1.4 in the left hand column, and we follow this. After locating row 1.4 in the left, that is the column ended X, we follow this row until we are in the column headed 7, and the intersection, the third step, the intersection between row 1.4 and column 7 gives us the value just as it is highlighted over there on the video, 0.6803. So remember, at this point we are at the reciprocal of number 1.47. So for the 6, we are going to proceed with the same row 1.4 to the difference column and then 6, and we find a difference of 29. There is number 29 over there. Remember we said that reciprocal tables are reducing tables, and therefore instead of adding values in the difference column as seen in other mathematical tables, in this case we are going to subtract, because we have realized that as the number becomes larger, its reciprocal reduces. So subtracting 29 from 0.6803, we shall get, let's see, if we subtract 29 from 0.6803, we subtract 29, we shall have 4776.0. Okay, so the next step is that we have noticed that the reciprocal of 1.476 is equal 0.6774. And remember, we are supposed to find the reciprocal of 1.476, then we multiply by the reciprocal of 10 power 1. And we know that the reciprocal of 1 over 10 is 0.1. So the reciprocal of this one is 0.6774 times the reciprocal of 1 over 10 will be times 10 power negative 1. And therefore this one, the overall reciprocal of 1 over 1.476 times 10 power 1 shall be 0.0, we are moving the decimal towards the left because the integer here is negative. 0.06774. This is the answer from the tables. And remember, the answer by division was 0.06775. This by division method. So if you look at that, there is a slight difference between reciprocal of numbers from the tables and by division, and therefore you cannot lie to your tutor that you use the tables and instead you use the division. Again, when you are using the tables, there are the steps that need to be followed, and from your working, your tutor will be able to know whether you use the tables or you use the division method. So if the question requires you to use reciprocal tables, please do adhere to that and use reciprocal tables. Now, because we have now understood on how to use our reciprocal tables, I want us to look at now another example from the previous KCSE papers. From the KCSE previous papers, and this question was done in 2004, paper 1, number 8. So that is another example I want us, we try to solve. Example 2. We are told use tables of reciprocal only to work out so the question goes like this: 3 over 0.6735 plus 13 over 0.156, and this question is totaling to 3 marks. Remember, this is a 2004 paper 1, number 8. So that is the question. Remember, this is form 2 work, and in form 2 usually restrict students from using scientific calculators. So looking at this table, looking at this question, we have to manipulate this question. By looking at it, I can make this one 1 over something, because we know the reciprocal of any number is 1 over that number. So what we are going to do, first of all, I am going to write the question in another form, but I am not going to change the values that are used. Okay, so this is the same as 3. If I factor out 3, I shall have 1 over 0.6735 plus, I factor out 13, I shall have 1 over 0.156. So having done that, then it means we are going to find the reciprocal of this number, of these two numbers. Then we multiply by 3, and here we multiply by 12. But looking at these numbers, they are all less than 1. Therefore, the next step is now to write the number in standard form. So the numbers in standard form shall be the reciprocal of 6.735 times 10 power negative 1. I add to 13 times the reciprocal of 1.56 times 10 power negative 1. Having done that, then now we proceed to the reciprocal tables. So we go to the reciprocal tables as shown on the video. So what we are going to do is that we are going to multiply the reciprocal of 6.735, just as we have done before. We are going to look at row 6.7, just as shown over there. We proceed with the same row to column ending 3, and you can see the figure over there. It is 0.1486. And then we proceed to the difference column ending 5, and the value against that is 1. So we are going to subtract 1, and when we subtract 1, we shall get the reciprocal of 6.735 as 0. When we subtract, we shall have 0.1485 times, now the reciprocal of 10 power negative 1 shall be 10. Then we proceed again to find the reciprocal of 1.56. We shall go to the reciprocal tables as shown on the video. We go to row 1.5. We proceed with the same row to column ending 6, and the value we get there is 0.6410. So we have 0.6410 times the reciprocal of 10 power negative 1 shall be 10. So having done that, then we shall have 3 times 1.485 after multiplying, plus 13 times, if we multiply this one, we shall get 6.410. Yep. So we proceed like that. So far so good. Now we are going to do the division. So we are going to multiply 3 times 1.485. If we do the multiplication, we shall get 3 times 5 is 15, carry 1, 24, 25, carry 2, 12, 12, that is 14, carry 1, 3, 3, 3 plus 1 is 4. So we have 4.55 plus, now we are going to multiply 13 times 6.410. At the Mercury, we are not going to use the calculator, so I still manipulate this so that 13 is the same as 10 plus 3, so multiply by 6.410. So what we shall do is that we shall have 10 times 6.4, maybe I can write it very well, 6.410. 10 times 6.410, we shall have 64.10 plus 3 times the same number, 0, 3, 12, carry 1, 18, 19. So there are 1, 2, 3 decimal places. So when we add, we shall get this is 19.230. We shall get 3.37, then 8. Now we add to 4.455. So far so good. So we shall have 5. 5 plus 0 is 5. 5 plus 3 is 8. 5 plus 3 again is 8. Oh, yes. 5 plus, yeah, is 5. 8, this is 7. 4 plus 3 is 7. Point. 4 plus 3 is 7 again. And then 8. And that is the answer. I intend to stop at this point, but I want to thank you so much for watching up to the last bit and the last second of this tutorial. Big ups to this video. Share if you can, and subscribe if you have not subscribed. But if you have subscribed, I want to thank you so much. Let's see you in the next tutorial.